So it looks like the old man shapeshifting arc is finished. I wanted to let those chapters build up, and I could honestly say for a day in the life type of sorcerer like mission, I guess, when it comes to this arc, it was pretty solid. It gave us a look into what the sorcerers are doing in the modern age, what type of curse users they're going up against, and obviously to see where Yuka and Tsurugi are at in the current timeline. And it's not like they're in like a special grade ranking at all, or even future. They are, if I had to rank them based on what they're at now, probably between grade 2 that's leading into grade 1. But let's get into what this arc was. Just gonna mention chapter 3 real quick, because even though it is technically not a part of the arc, I would guess, and it is the weakest chapter out of all the chapters that's come out recently. It was mainly just set up for, you know, Tsurugi and Maru and building their relationship and kind of building a bond to figure out one another, because of course, you know, the whole point of like this, even this arc, is for Maru to understand how humans are emotionally and reactionary to certain things, and digging into the morality of when to attack and when certain things are raised to a fatal situation where someone can get seriously hurt or die. I thought the shark curse was okay with the whole setup of that. I actually like the drawing of the shark. It kind of made me wish there was like a shark kind of like cursed spirit or something in JJK other than like a Shikigami attack. But it turns out the shark was just a cosplay, as it was a guy that was in it, a former Jujutsu sorcerer who's trying to take down this grown adult tiger, and obviously he can't do it in the state that he's in now. And then Tsurugi jumps in, pretty cool fighting sequences mixed in there. And I like the drawing of the giant tiger, because this tiger grew up and obviously he got out of control, but he's a wild animal. And then Tsurugi takes him out, and then the whole situation dies down. They get to talking, and then a baby cub comes out, and the chapter just ends with him getting the baby cub. So it was a very forgettable chapter, nothing crazy. It was just more so just character building. In chapter 4, we got the real start to the mission, and Usami wants Tsurugi and Yuki to get as much information as possible from the Cimmerians during this mission. Now this whole mission and like the whole details around is a little weird, but it is a student that keeps repeating the first grade, and he's like I think he's been doing it for a long while, a couple of years, and obviously that's not normal. So they want to go ahead and check the scene and see if it's a cursed user at play, or is there some type of other, you know, cursed thing going on, to see what's happening. So they find the kid, and in the most "please run away from me" face you can give a child, Tsurugi asks for his name and the kid takes off. They stop and the kid falls, and we see the curse that is protecting it, a puppet looking Shikigami that looks like a sewing machine too. I like these type of curses that look a little creepy, sort of. It's like if I go into drawing my thought process with like a monster design or like dark creatures, I just want to draw something that like I wouldn't want to see in real life. Maybe combine some stuff and then see what you can get. They don't get into the fight at this moment because Tsurugi doesn't want to set off bad signs to Maru about humans in the off chance that Maru attacks. Maru doesn't know when to use a technique against people in hostile situations, and if Maru sends mixed signals or bad information to the Cimmerians, the war will start. So unlike most Jujutsu sorcerers or just fighters in general, he's trying to solve everything through talking and just kind of understanding your opponent. They try talking to the kid to see why he's doing this repeating first grade thing, and the main giveaway that something was off was that the kid said that mom became a ghost and she made it possible for him to be a first grader forever. Yeah, definitely should have rang off some bells there, Tsurugi. The kid's Jujutsu going crazy after a traumatic event has happened before, as we've seen it in Volume 0 with Yuta, obviously seeing Rika get ran over by a car, and they let the kid take them to his house. Now Yuki and Mino also pull up to a house and they go looking around, and at the same time both Tsurugi and Yuki see something. Then Takeda shows him his mother's body, and I like this entire conversation of dialogue leading into the end of the chapter. You know, the kid and Maru are having a conversation, and Maru is just a sympathetic guy. He always wants to try to see the good in people, and since this is a child, he's even more endearing to him. The kid feels like he doesn't have a place to belong, he doesn't have anywhere to stay, no one with him. And Maru starts talking to him, and he starts talking about neighbors, and we could be neighbors together. You know, super wholesome stuff. But obviously this is JJK. Something was going to happen at the end of this because this is too happy-go-lucky. And Tsurugi gets the call from Yuka, and they're both at 2 different houses. There are 5 dead bodies at the house that Yuka is at. Maru is knocked out, and this ain't a kid, it's a weird-ass old man disguising himself as a kid. Also, I gotta mention Iwasaki is killing it with the double spreads. I'm loving how bold and like attention grabbing he makes them. So Tsurugi had to fight this old guy and the puppet Shikigami by himself. He uses maternal Raz Fury, a marmalade boy. Now, when I first read this, I don't know why I read this like a mermaid man voice in my head, but it just kind of happened. He's giving Tsurugi some work and he's applying a lot of pressure with the sewing needle, and this guy never thought about using his power for good, but instead he basically never got over the feeling of being a child. Yeah, so he wants to live as a first grader forever. Tsurugi chalks up the fact that the old man probably has gone senile and he lost control of his curse energy, which is a really interesting way of kind of looking at it, because that could actually be a factor of somebody losing control of it, because maybe in this timeline that there's just a lot of people that just kind of don't know how to use curse energy that are gaining it for like the first time. I wonder if that's like a common case, because we never really saw it that much in JJK. I mean, there was moments of like people raging out and kind of like, you know, obviously being depressed, but not to the degree where they kind of just lose control of their psyche. So he feels sorry for the old man and gets into a stance and does a new shadow styled simple domain Malculation, which looks like a more advanced technique for new shadow style, as he's countering the Shikigami and the curse user as long as they are in reach and remaining on the offense. Mino launches the veil and Yuka joins the fight with a biting twist. Still kind of want to see more from Yuka though. He informs her of the shapeshifting technique and they get to throwing hands. Action and paneling in this looks really good, especially like the panel to panel movement. You know, it looks really solid here, it looks fluid. You understand what's going on. Yuka and Tsurugi are attacking in perfect unison, and it's still unique to see like two sorcerers coming from a higher ranking family, and they mainly rely on close combat. Like, we haven't really seen anything, you know, spontaneous from Yuka. Obviously we're not going to see it from Tsurugi, but nothing like, you know, like that makes me go, oh, she's gonna like a super high potential. Like, nothing of that yet. I mean, maybe she gets it when the ring comes into play. He's on the ground and something, I guess, is off with Yuka, and she attacks Tsurugi, and then she's on the ground. The old man reveals his technique and uses human skin for shapeshifting, and he could pack the Shikigami's body inside the skin too. Not gonna lie, this whole sequence, it kind of really confused me. Like, even the explanation makes sense, but the way it's put together in the manga just kind of, it looks a little like all over the place. But none of that shit's about to matter, because Maru is waking up and the things that's on the ground start to levitate, and all we see is his third eye peeking from the shadow.
That was very... Oh!
Well, this was easily the best chapter of the manga so far. Maru wakes up because Maru like stuns him and he loses control of the Shikigami and throws a big rock at the old man and sends him flying. Beats him to the spot and hits him with an axe kick. This little sequence kind of reminded me of Gojo fighting Drogo the first time, when he goes behind him and kicks him. Reasonably so, Tsurugi is shocked by how strong Maru is, which we know how strong Maru is just based on like what he's billed as. But during this chapter, I was not expecting half of the stuff that he did. Cross is actually watching this from a distance and is monitoring Maru and seeing how this mission is going. He's disappointed in the fact that it only took so much to make Maru lose composure. And regardless of either case, they aren't too worried about an all-out war because they have Deborah. Yes, the big Samorian that was compared to like a weapon, more so than anything else, is named Deborah. Let's just hope he ends up better than the other Deborah in Dragon Ball Z. And every panel of this dude just screams aura. Like, he looks tough. I need to see him fight. Hopefully he delivers. And after a quick research on the word Deborah, the common words surrounding it are magic and devil, which devil definitely fits his description. Although I feel like this guy will be more of a physical beast rather than a sorcery type of guy. Maru picks up the dodgeballs, and to me it's pretty clear it's more of a telekinesis than a gravity technique. Although it could be, but the third eye stunning people and knocking them out, lifting things up off the ground, seems more like a telekinesis type thing. The cursed user has felt this feeling before, of a time he almost croaked in a fight, and the character is super hard to see like what he's supposed to be until you see the second panel of his face and he has like a scar above his eye, which we can assume is he ran into Yuji at some point. More great action drawn by Iwasaki, with Maru dodging and grabbing the needle, hitting a thrust kick. He blows up the dodgeballs and flanks them, and this panel looks fucking ridiculous with this murderous stare, and he's literally just throwing a dodgeball at his head. But then right after, gives him a barrage of punches and sends him flying into a pool. Walks outside and he heats up the pool to get the old man to jump into the air, and then freezes him and turns him into a huge ice sculpture. If it isn't clear enough that the Samoa is on a different level than the Prodigy kids, it couldn't have made it more clear now. And the old man thinks that this technique is literally just him destroying any and all logic, because he's using so many different elements in just this one fight. Tsurugi stops Maru before he breaks the ice and the old man. The inner monologue with Cross was pretty interesting, as either action that Tsurugi takes benefits the Samorians in some way, as it makes the sorcerers and Jutsu headquarters not look unified, and the radicals on Earth would look for a reason to start a war, using the old man as a ploy, even if he is a cursed user. And he wants Maru to put him out of his misery. I like that Tsurugi was able to calm him down by bringing up the fact that he wants to be neighbors with Maru. That's like a trigger word to, I guess, snap him out of it when he is going into that berserk phase of being knocked out, which I feel like it's not gonna be the last time we see him like this. But like after he says it, he goes right back with his eyes closed, and then that's when Cross comes down. He stops him and wonders like, why did he just do that instead of just letting Maru go off again? I think it's pretty clear that Cross will end up helping Maru and the Okosu siblings against the Sumerians, or at least against Deborah, because the way this is going, it does feel like they're alluding to a war, obviously, but it does feel like there's going to be some type of like medium, this like middle ground where we're going to get the war, but we're also going to get the big battle, but we're not going to get like a ton of action. We're going to get a lot of dialogue and a lot of confrontation, ending with, you know, peace, which, you know, isn't exactly something that was focused on the original series in JJK, but kind of bringing it into this one, it at least adds a different look and vibe for this era. And I can confidently say this was the best set of chapters between chapter 4, chapter 5, and chapter 6. Hopefully we continue to progress in quality, because what is being set up so far, I'm really interested in. We got about 20 something odd chapters left, and we all know that Iwasaki and Gege, they are clearly clicking, and they know how to like write and build stuff up even in a limited space, which I think people forget. That's one of the things that made Gege stand out amongst his peers, is the fact that you give Gege 5 chapters, he could do a lot within 5 chapters. Something that could take like maybe 10, 9. For others, he'll do in like 4 or 5. And that's just the way he's able to create a story. So if you all enjoyed this arc review, let me know in the comment section down below if you liked it. Leave a like, and I'll let y'all in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, Kim Jong, yeah, big bomb. On the bread, man, make your vision.